Our next speaker is Alexander Akopyan, who is probably one of the most prominent specialists on numismatics of Caucasus in general, and a great specialist in Islamic numismatics in a broader sense, who is usually has very, very interesting materials. In this case, there's a graffiti on the coins of Diyarbakır Hoard of 1992.
In 1992, during municipal excavations for the construction of water and sewer infrastructure on Malik Ahmed Street, one of the most important streets within the city walls of Diyarbakır, a group of gold coins was discovered. This accidentally discovered treasure was originally contained in a metal jug, but it crumbled during the excavation, and some of it fell into the surrounding soil. So a team of experts from the Diyarbakır Museum was dispatched to the scene to prevent the coins from being scattered. And consequently, the soil in which the gold coins had been scattered was collected by construction equipment and transported to the museum garden. The examination in the museum revealed 394 gold coins, which were registered in the museum archives as the hoard of Malik Ahmed Street. The chronological distribution of these coins is as follows: 2 Fatimid dinars, 1 Seljuk dinar, and the rest are Byzantine coins. 48 of Romanos III, 14 of Constantine IX, and 329 of Michael VII. Detailed description of the hoard was published in the last issue of American Numismatic Journal, but without graffitis. About 2/3 of coins from hoard of Malik Ahmed Street, 256 coins, and only Byzantine Histamina Numismata, have been found to be a graffiti. The total number of graffiti reached at least 620. They were studied by the excellent photographs, but it's possible that further research de visu could reveal more graffiti. A great piece of luck for the investigation was the abundance of repetitive symbols found among the graffiti on the hoard coins that really helped to identify them. Historical significance of the hoard is further enhanced by the rich repertoire of graffiti found on them, which analysis is particularly important for the eastern regions of Byzantine Empire, where monetary history is significantly less investigated than Empire's western and metropolitan regions. In increasing complexity, this graffiti can be ranked as follows: lines, 1, 2 parallel or 2 intersecting lines; signs, crosses, pearls, and tamgas; and alphabetical texts, letters, monograms, abbreviations, and words. The lines are the simplest graffiti. A line, 2, 3, or more parallel lines cannot be interpreted unambiguously. There is exception to previous groups are crosses, which are interpreted as a signs and as a Christian signs only if they are in symmetrically significant positions. For example, above or below the image of Christ, as on the left coin, or in the special form, for example, as a patriarchal cross on the right coin. In my opinion, this clearly separates them from random intersection of lines. Beside crosses, this group of signs also includes pearls, a same of which you can see on the left coin, on the top, and tamgas, which are found in large quantities among graffiti, and which I will discuss in detail further, but the examples you can see on both presented coins already. So, another group of signs among the graffiti are the tamgas, which were brands of signs of property widely used among the Turkic clans. Tamgas are the following august branches were found on graffiti of Hofstra, Alkabeluk, Aymur, Bayat, Bayandur, Daktili, Bugduz, Chapni, Çuldar, İgdir, Karabeluk, Kayık, Günük, Kızik, Salvur, Togar, Tuturka, Ulayondluk, Ragir, Yaparlı, Yazgir, Yeva. Here they are shown with the variants known from coins. And numbers means how many times they see on the coins. And about 20 graffiti, possibly with tamgas, could not be identified. The total number of graffiti with tamgas reached 120, which makes this group quantitatively comparable to the 247 alphabetic texts that will be discussed further. So samples of tamgas you can see on these coins. Here on the left coin, you can see the tamgas of Yaparlı, Yazgır, Alkabeluk on 9, 10, 30, and 11 hours. It should be noted that there is not something unusual with multiple tamgas on one coin. On the central coin, there is a tamga of branch Kayık, and on the right coin, there is a Salgur tamga on 3 hours that may be connected with previous Turk name Huda. Here's also samples of coins with another tamgas. Here are the tamgas of Afshar branch. On the left coin, Afshar on 6:30 and Igdir on 8 hours. Samples of Afshar on 6:30 on the left coin, Igdir on 8 hours. And on the central coin, the Kayık on 4:30. And on the right coin, Tutirka on 12 hours under the name Muhammad bin Yusuf, and again possibly connected. Some more samples of tamgas. On the left coin, you can see on 11th, 12th tamga of Tagar, which marked in white, placed over marked by black Greek word, which will be discussed later. And on the right coin, placed tamga of Ulayonduk on 7 hours. It should be noted that forms of the tamgas on the coins are close to those given in written sources as well-known Divan Lughat al-Turk of Mahmud al-Kashghari, Jami al-Tawarikh of Rashid ad-Din, Tawarikh Ali Selçukov of Ali Efendi Yazıcizadeh, and Shajara Tarakima of Abul Ghazi. But also they have features, they bring them closer to the tamgas on the gravestones and other objects from Aral-Caspian region to Asia Minor. The interpretation of tamgas is quite complex. They are often very simple, and if some sign does not have any features that can clearly classify it as a letter, for example, doubling of a vertical line or obviously different pressure on different parts of letter similar to that of written monuments, then when classifying a sign as a tamga or a letter, preference is given to the tamga as a more informative. The third group includes individual letters, if they can be confidently separated from the lines, as well as words, both in the form of monograms or abbreviation or written out in full. So here should I say that Āmid, as Diyarbakır was historically known, is one of the most ancient cities in the Middle East. It has always had a mixed population. Since the beginning of Common Era, it has been inhabited mostly by Armenians and Syrians, joined by Arabs of Bakr tribe from the 7th century onwards, and later by Turks and Kurds. Since 640, the city was continuously under Muslim rule, passing during the disintegration of Caliphate in the early 10th century to the Hamdanids, then to Marwanids, and from 1085 to the Sultans. The mixed composition of the Hoard understudy is quite unusual, as it is known from the 10th century Byzantine book of the Eparch. There was a direct ban on the export of gold outside the Byzantine Empire. Apparently, the situation began to change significantly from the middle of the 11th century, when the monetary border between Byzantium and the Caliphate, which has been practically impenetrable from the middle of 8th century to the beginning of 11th century, began eroded due to the activation of military groups led by the Seljuks. Subsequent events, especially the defeat of Romanos IV at Manzikert in 1071, followed by the intensification of the Seljuk raids into the empire, and led to an active transfer of Byzantine gold to the Darul Islam. As Hoard of Melik Ahmed's tree shows, so far in the early years of 12th century, Byzantine histamina actively used in the Darul Islam, at least in such a border city as Āmid. They were circulated in this city and its region, accumulated here in large amounts, and many of them bear undoubtedly local graffiti as tamgas and Arabic, Armenian, Greek, or Turkish inscriptions. However, the numismatical evidences of such outflow of the gold are very scarce. Those finds of 11th century Byzantine coins from the different regions of the Darul Islam still are extremely rare. Not a single coin or hoard of 11th century Byzantine coins in the Darul Islam has been described by Moser or in the 7 volumes of the coin hoards. Nevertheless, in the Southern Caucasus, sporadic Byzantine stamina spread further east of Byzantine border and used both in Christian states and in Islamic Emirates, all the way to the Caspian coast. On the south direction, stamina reached at least Caesarea Maritima, that shown in the recent discovery of unique mixed hoards with Fatimid dinars, with terminus postquem 1101. More frequent use of stamina fixed in the border areas, the directly adjacent to the Byzantine border city of Babil, which in the 11th century was under control of Muslim amirs and or city council, demonstrate a similar to Diyarbakır Āmid active tradition of Byzantine establishment, but without custom to make a graft. So returning to alphabetic text on the graffiti from the studied Hoard, the Arabic, Armenian, Greek, Latin, and Syriac graffiti were identified. It should be noted that the reading of all Syriac inscriptions is very tentative. The list of languages represented was supplemented by Hebrew, Old Anatolian, Turkish, Old French, and Persian. On the graffiti, Arabic script used for Arabic, Armenian, Turkish, and Persian languages, Armenian for Armenian, Greek, and Hebrew, Greek for Greek and Hebrew, Latin for Old French, and Syriac for Syriac. Also, some pseudo-inscriptions were identified. So, Arabic graffiti represented by the many male given names, as Ayub, Ibn Hussein, Saad, Faraj bin Uqba, Hassan, so on. Numerals as Alf, 1,000. We saw them on the previous coins. And also individual words like Karara, purified on the left coin, or Killa, scarness, and religious terms placed next to the image of Christ, like on the central coin, Hua, that means he, that is God, on the central coin, and Bin, that means the son of God, on the right coin. Armenian graffiti are represented also by separate graphics, many samples, which are abbreviations or of names, or maybe have a numerical value. By monograms, many male given names like Abbas are by David on the left coin, Asad, David, Jacob, Jacobus, Majrik, Mukatal, Toros, Theodor on the central coin written in white over previous Greek graffiti, and others. Very special nicknames like Moh, particular type of fish that lives in the Euphrates, Saraj, Sadler. Indication of value like Parurata Dramos of 100 silver coins on the right coin, and benediction. Aspatokne Apelga, may God helps Apelga, Apelgarib should be. Greek graffiti are represented by the many individual graphemes like Alpha, Gamma, and Nu, that you can see on the left coin, and many others, monograms as a Christogram, and others, given names like Elias, like Kyrikos, Konstantinos, and also numerals like Koppa, the left coin, that is 90, a very special number. On the central coin, Royota Theta, or Rolambda Theta, 119 or 139, and he on the, that is 600. Some words like doulos, that is slave of God, on the central coin, and benediction on the right coin, Dia, by aid of God. Those the most intensively used languages in the whole Arabic, Armenian, and Greek, likely the largest wealthy ethnic groups in Āmid in the early 12th century. 4 other languages were used on graffiti in significantly smaller volumes. Old Turkish graffiti are represented by 3 male names written in Arabic. Inanç, this name we see twice. One example on the left coin, Timur bin Yusuf on the central coin, and Khudabik on the right coin. We saw it already. Of course, some Arabic names may be common for Iranians and Turks, but in the absence of any additional data, they are listed as Arabic. The extreme rarity of Turkic names against the background of the huge number of Turkic tamgas may indicate a predominantly tribal, rather than personalized marking, and therefore use of Byzantine stamina among the nomads. However, even these 3 names shows that the process of personal accumulation has already formed out from the tribal savings. Names accompanied by a tamga may also indicate this. Both the name and the tamga may, in this case, refer to the same person, as in the case of Khudabek Salhur on the right coin, and Muhammad bin Yusuf Tuturka from the previous slide. Latin graffiti are represented only by the letter L twice, but it can be used in Greek alphabet too. So we can say on 100% that it is Latin graffiti. And by the only name Denise on the left coin, the bearer of which is apparently connected somehow with the events of the First Crusade. this left coin on the 5-6 hours also be the third inscription, possibly Pseudo-Arabic. The two Syriac graffiti are supposedly read as a Tobit on the central coin. Possibly this is incorrectly written name Tobit. And on another one coin is Mtejeb. Maybe this is from Armenian Matach, that means a sacrificial offering. But their reading is very questionable. And on the right coin, the only one attested among the graffiti, Persian word, Khami, that means defeat. Graffiti in foreign alphabets shows flexibility of the alphabet shifts among the educated residents of Āmid. This graffiti includes Arabic for Armenian, 2 samples, Tir Rubin for Terruben, that means Ser Rubin, and the word Hazarakan for Armenian Hazarakan of 1,000 coins. Armenian for Jewish, 1 sample, Shlema for Shlomo, Armenian for Greek, Lokas for Lukas, and Greek for Jewish, Moshe for Moshe, and Slem for Shlomo. It is noteworthy that the Jews did not use Hebrew script to write their names, but only more common in Āmid, Armenian, and Greek. Another reflection of above-mentioned flexibility are 2 words written in a mixture of Armenian and Greek alphabets. On the left coin, it is Greek Angele, that is angel in vocative, written in Armenian letters with Greek gamma, and Armenian word Mahrojak, that means sealed deed, written in Armenian with Greek alpha. Such diversity of languages on the coins graffiti shows the deep-rootedness of the habit of the making among the all ethno-religious groups of Āmid in the 11th, 12th century. In this regard, it is appropriate to pay attention to the obvious patterns in the behavior of the inhabitants of Āmid who made coin graffiti. Firstly, the Islamic dinars do not bear graffiti. Secondly, among the identified cases of the use of other alphabets, there are no text in Hebrew script at all, although Jewish names are recorded. Thirdly, the images of Christ on Byzantine coins were adopted as Greek Orthodox images. They are signed only by Orthodox Christians in Greek nomina sacra or in Arabic names of God, but never by Armenian Christians in Armenian or by Syriac Christians in Syria. And fourthly, not all of the ethno-religious groups had a positive attitude towards the images of Christ or the emperor on the stamina. So some texts or tangas are written on turned-up coins. Analysis of the deciphered graffiti allows us to preliminarily divide the matters into 4 groups. First is private inscriptions that divide on 2 subgroups, tangas, many examples, and names or nicknames, also many examples. The second group is religious inscriptions that divide on 5 subgroups. Firstly is a nomina sacra, like pneuma, Greek, that means Holy Spirit, names of God in Arabic only, Allah, being, or Huwa, He. Next subgroup is benedictions, like Armenian Astvat Okne Apulgar, may God help Apulgarib, or Greek Dia, by aid of God. Third group is apotropaic protection, like Greek numeral Kopa 90, that is indication of Psalm 90, Lord, who has been our dwelling place in all generations, so on, a prominent hymn against demons, and also Armenian Mary Christosi, Mother of Christ. Fourth subgroup is standard collocations or parts of nominal groups as Armenian Tsarai, slave of God, and Greek doulos, with the same meaning, slave of God. And the fifth group is a sanction, like Arabic la, no, that means no, near to image of the emperor. Third group is economical inscriptions that divided into 3 subgroups. The first is related to quality characteristics of coins, as Arabic Carrara, purified coin, or against Ja'ali, counterfeit, fake, and Persian Khami, defect, although all coins are not counterfeit. The second subgroup related to quantity. These could be ordinal numbers like Arabic Ashra, 10, Ashrin 20, Greek 139, Arabic Alf 1000, and Armenian Hazarakan of 1000, or some specification like Greek Imesu from halves or Armenian Haruarta dramots of 100 silver coins, or yard in the result, and Arabic killa scarceness. There is something emotional, in my opinion, shine through such words. It is clear that having counted out 10 or 119 or 1,000 coins, or having taken some coin from some health, from a rational point of view, it will be pointless to write about it on the coin, which will fall into a coin bag and get lost there. Therefore, in such graffiti, one can see a reflection of some experience after the completion of the count. And the last third subgroup related to transfer of coin between people. There is only one sample illustrated on this slide. The Greek word diary, that means toi diary, to husband's brother. And fourth group reflects legal inscriptions, again, with only one sample of legal origin of coin, Armenian word mahrachak, that means sealed deed. The graffiti repertoire indicates the deep-rootedness of gold coins among both the nomadic Turks living around Āmid and its urban population. The high volatility of coins between the city and surrounding area, most likely due to trade, because Āmid was renowned for its woolen and fine linen products and other products. This trade clearly reflected in many of the coins in the hoard, which bear both tangas and texts. The location of the hoard on a central street within city walls most likely indicates its hoarding on the territory of an urbanite's private home. It is obvious that the reason for the appearance of the graffiti was the very design of Byzantine stamina, struck with a wide, empty margin. Additional research is needed to determine whether graffiti began to be applied before or after the significant increase of Turks in the Middle East and Asia Minor, tentatively before or after Manzikert 1071. But it is worth noting the widespread habit of applying tamgas to both coins and other objects in Central Asia at that time. And in the conclusion of my talk, it should be noted that Byzantine coins with graffiti often appear on the auctions, including those with similar or identical ones to those found on the coins from the hoard of Malik Ahmed Street. Commonly, such coins are offered without an interpretation of graffiti. This is hampered by the fact that such coins do not have an exact place of discovery, as well as the singularity of such coins at auctions. The analysis of the graffiti on the coins of the hoard of Malik Ahmed Street can serve as a starting point for the interpretation of other graffiti on Byzantine coins of the 11th century, and undoubtedly the comparison of the graffiti for the hoard with the new epigraphic data will allow us to clarify and supplement the proposed readings and their interpretations. And thank you very much for your attentions.